Just want to do a little quick announcement of my own, and I'm not going to hog the place up, but I do have a speech as well, meaning George has helped me and my family a great deal. So this place has got a special place in my heart here, so it's odd that we're here doing this today because we buried my friend here. We raised money for cancer awareness here. It was awesome, but more importantly, this was a part of my childhood, 30 years growing up in Fairview where it used to be. So it's kind of cool to be here raising money for good causes and so forth and so on. My first experience with a heroin overdose was in the middle 70s, and I was about 12 years old, and one of our friends who was 2 years older than us at the time, and I don't know if Kim will remember, he's in the room, but they found him laying in the field, you know, and it was over, and it sticks in my heart and my mind, and I feel like it was yesterday. So fast forward to a few years ago, you know, my son is in the throes of addiction, and thank God he's doing very well now, much thanks to this guy standing right here. Yep. So I had to do, as many of you who may be parents in the room of someone who suffers, step away, the tough love thing, the walk away thing. I literally had to throw him out of a house that we had bought for him, and he was paying the rent, and the taxes and all that stuff. Last January, I had to throw him out of that house, and it was heartbreaking, it was heart-wrenching, like many of you have gone through. What made it so much easier after was this guy sitting right here, and I'm sure he's done a lot for a lot of you in this room, but I want to give my personal thank you to him. He asked me to do this, and I told him we're in this together to make this happen, and anytime I can help him, I want to help him. Because you can't repay somebody for literally saving your son's life. You can't. And you also can't accuse anyone of making someone not want the treatment, right? We all know that, and some of you in the room know better than I do, you know, who have had the trouble yourself. So it really comes to the individual, comes down to my son making the right choices and everything, but the guide is right here, and that's sometimes all you need is a guide, a teacher, a mentor outside of your family that helps. So I am thankful that Kim, wherever you are in this room, my friend from many years. Oh, she's out front, that figures, right? But Kim Trevito, who I've known since she was born, basically. I got 6 years on her, but don't tell her that. But anyway, I've known her since she was born, literally, and she connected me with George, and I'm thankful to him, and I'm thankful for everyone who's here for this awareness, and so that we can hear the names of many people. Not that we want to hear these names, we want to hear them for the right reasons, so we keep their memories alive. So George, what do you got for us today?
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
He's my hero. Give him pride. He deserves a big round of applause. Okay, so we're going to get moving forward. Try to give people a chance to get in here. Looks like the list is pretty filled up. I have a few young ladies who are going to... That's right, Kathy. Kathy?
Yeah, Kathy.
No, I said I've got a few young ladies going to talk to us today. Kathy's one. And she has a memory of this hall too. I think she was at a wedding reception here. A lot of good memories here, Carl. My whole purpose for this event is that everyone in this room remember everything that you hear, carry this message out there. Because my belief, and I ain't a doctor, but a lot of this shit don't take no rocket scientist. If there's going to be a change, we got to initiate it, and we got to be a big part of it. Raising awareness, sharing your love, showing your child, your husband, your wife, your neighbor, that they're not alone. I'm not going to do my testimony because that would take next week. The most important part is that all you folks that came here today, and I'm very impressed, and I want to thank you again. You are the ones that's going to help me help them. And one day we will find, I don't know if I'll be here, a way to bring this thing down. When I made a post, this whole event is about the ones who have passed. We won't forget them, we don't forget them, we will never forget them. This room, I have to believe right now, there's spirits in this room flying high with us today. I know, they know, he knows, she knows. They do not die in vain. I will not allow that. Not while I'm here. And if I can find a way back when I go, I'll be flying high, doing the same thing. A lot of you know me. A lot of you know me more personally. Again, my reason for this is to raise awareness and to remember the ones. They do not die in vain. I've got a few young ladies going to speak. Kathy, come up. She's going to tell you a little about her story. See, if someone like me can come out of this, that tells me anybody can do it. And one day, maybe you'll hear my testimony. She's going to break it down. This is Kathy. Let's give her a round of applause.
First of all, I want to thank George for again having a marvelous benefit, always trying to help everybody. And my sincere and deepest condolences for everybody in this room that has lost someone dear and special to them. Hi, my name is Kathy, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. My sobriety date is September 20th, 2015. And I'm just going to tell you a little story about myself, what it was like, what happened, and what's going on now. I'm one of 3 children, born and raised in Hatton Heights. Had a nice family, normal high school. Started a little bit of dibbling and dabbling in high school, as we all do. Went away 2 years to college. Everything paid for by my lovely parents. And of course, my major was partying. And I got A's in partying and mostly D's, F's, and incompletes. But then, luckily, when I came home, my father had insisted I sign up for LPN school. So then I was a nurse for 35 years, and I absolutely adored being a nurse, helping people, et cetera, et cetera. Met my husband, who has since passed away 3.5 years ago. And we had a marriage made in heaven. We had 3 beautiful children. We were like the Waltons, the white picket fence, the whole 9 yards. Then my dear husband suffered his first massive heart attack, and many, many more after that. So my nice little peaceful life was turned upside down, as were my children's. I can't tell you exactly when or where or how it started. All I know was that my weekend partying of, you know, having a few with my husband, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, it turned into, you know, weekends, then Wednesdays, then it turned into an everyday affair. It's really hard for me to pinpoint the day I woke up and I was consumed with drugs and alcohol. That's all I thought about. I got my 2 other children were grown and had moved out, but I had one daughter at home, and I would plan and scheme and connive the night before of how I was going to do all my dirty deeds the next day and get her to high school and then get straightened out by the time I picked her up from high school. Needless to say, from me being absent as a mother, my husband and all his illness and his alcohol and drug problem, my dear daughter suffered the most, and you know, it was a really rough road with her. Like I say, I stopped paying bills, I stopped going food shopping, I stopped caring about anything and everything. The disease of addiction had me in such a tight hold. There was nothing I could do to change it. It got so bad. Every night before I went to bed, I prayed to God to please take my life because I was hurting my family so much. And I hated myself so much, and I couldn't even stand to look in my mirror anymore because I hated myself so much. I hated my weakness that drugs and alcohol had taken over my life. I lied, I cheated, I stole, I did many things I'm not proud of. But what's most important to point out here is what I have is a disease, and there's a lot of controversy over that, but it is a disease. I truly believe it is a disease. I don't know, was I born with it? I don't know if I developed it, whatever. But that disease sure had a bad hold on me. And, you know, my husband started first with the drugs and the alcohol. And like I say, my beautiful family was turned upside down with all his heart attacks and open heart surgeries and defibrillators, et cetera, I could go on and on. And I would often say to him, if you love me and if you loved our 3 children, you'll stop. And he cried over and over, Kath, I can't stop. You know I love you more than anything in this world, but I can't stop. So I would tell him, yeah, right, get out, we're done, and then I'd take him back. It was like a merry-go-round. And it wasn't until I was a drug addict and an alcoholic myself that these words rang true in my head and my heart, because as much as I destroyed my children, my family, everybody, I couldn't stop. And all the love in the world for my children, who I'm sure like most of you, your children are everything in the world to you. I couldn't stop, and I kept destroying my one daughter in particular. Again, I'm not really sure at what point, but my husband and my daughter were standing at the top of my steps when I came in one Friday night, and my husband said, Kath, either get help or anonymity, or my daughter and I were done, okay? So I cursed at them, screamed at them, told them where to go. And then by the grace of God, I went in my bedroom and I called my insurance company on the back of your card. If anybody doesn't know where to go to get help and you can't reach George, just turn your health insurance over on the back for your behavioral health and call your insurance company, and hopefully they'll direct you. But anyway, I got into my first detox, my first rehab, but I stayed clean and sober for a while. I don't even know the amount of time. And then lo and behold, that devil creeped right back up, grabbed me around my throat, and I was right back where I started, only worse. And that's the thing. When we go back out, for me anyway, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I hated myself more and more and more and more. My second stint in rehab now, in the meantime, my husband's dying this whole time in the hospital for over 4 months, where he did finally pass. But, so by the grace of God, I was clean and sober for his funeral, his viewing, and everything for my children. I did relapse again, but again, by my Lord Jesus Christ, I was allowed to go into my second and final rehab. And I don't know what happened. They talk about a spiritual awakening, and I truly did have a spiritual awakening up there at that second rehab. And it's something like I have never experienced before. I won't go into detail now. If you want, if you want to ask me about that later, that's fine. But from that day forward, something in me definitely changed. I was a different person. I felt hope for the first time in my life since I started this horrible journey. Well, it's not horrible now, and I want to put this in my story too, and it's a little corny, but I now call myself the hope pusher, because you know what? For each and every addict, alcoholic, whatever you take, whatever you're addicted to, there is hope for each and every one of us in this room. And like George said, if he could do it, anybody can do it. If Kim could do it, and if I can do it, I promise you, anybody that's struggling right now, you can do it, because I was in a very bad, dark, dark place. So after that spiritual awakening, I don't know, the rehab done to me, I was like a sponge. I wanted to soak up everything that they had to offer me. And I'm that way today. I have to remain teachable. This disease, you know, unless I made